What's up, everyone? This is a bonus lesson. We will show you some experimental ways of research, so yeah, let's get at it. So, Leonardo.ai has an interesting function to allow us for more organic research. It's so-called flow state, and Leonardo has recently added it. Let me show you how cool it is. Let's start with a prompt. It's something we used in the previous lesson. Now we can choose different things here on the left. We can choose the vibe of the image. For instance, we can select it as a pro photo. We can choose the lighting. Let's say we go for a golden hour, and yeah, we can really choose and experiment with different settings here. You can already see how simple it is. Let's also set an overhead camera and choose a color theme like a gold glow to go in that direction. And yeah, let's just generate stuff. And what's interesting about the flow state is that it essentially generates different variants. You can scroll down and these generations will almost never end. We can explore things faster. If we like a certain direction, and we can go down that rabbit hole, just like we did with variations in Midjourney. We can also narrow our searches within Leonardo too. For example, this direction seems like an interesting one, so we can use more like this. We see that we are diving deeper and narrowing our searches, essentially working within the street, playing more with the details. So that's one fun way to explore, change the settings, change prompts, and scroll endlessly until you find something cool. Let's do another round. Let's say we'll use concept art this time. We'll change some settings here and see what we get. It's pretty interesting. You can see that the less we choose on the left, the more variety we have with the generations. Let me make it even more vague than before. I'll remove a part of the prompt and see what we get. This concept art has a huge impact on the style. In our case, we are going for something more photorealistic, so yeah, you might find it interesting, depending on your needs. Let's get back to Pro Photo and leave the filters more open this time. We won't make it as narrow as before. So this diversity right now is pretty nice, and it allows us to explore some different and cool moments. And again, if we like it, we can use more like this, and now it should be within the lighting style. Yeah, if we have something that feels right, we can just upscale it, and that's a done deal. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think this is the extent we want to show you this tool. It's very user-friendly, it's pretty visual, and it allows for more organic research. You constantly get bombarded with references. That's a really cool way of exploring. And then you can put it to Midjourney and you can take it from there. And moving on, we actually wanted to show you how we created the mood board for our assets. So this mood board is done just to see how our 3D assets could blend into the Silk Road world. So this is our mood board, and we started off with this only. You know, this is a clay render of various assets we wanted to use in this scene. We wanted them to be fairly visible and perhaps make some spatial sense, like having a path leading to something, maybe a portal, and that's how we put it, rather than everything just floating around aimlessly. But yeah, nothing overcomplicated. And now we can do our little trick. We can go to Magnifique and choose Style Transfer, and we upload our clay rendering as a base, and we can start uploading different images that will be kind of transferring on top of the clay rendering. So we can upload anything we generated in Midjourney or use some references from Google, like the Kathmandu streetscape. You'll simply have more concepts, some might be unsuccessful, but yeah, some of them will give us some interesting ideas. As for the style and structure strength, our starting point is usually around 70-70, maybe 60-60. Then you can add or subtract depending on whether you want the reference to be more prominent. There's some flexibility here, but I think starting with similar values is a good starting point. And just like that, everything is transformed. And some of those transformations are quite extensive. If we wanted to tone it down a little bit, we can reduce the style to 60 and we can set the structure to 75. Now, some features have been preserved a bit better, If we look at some edge detail, it might be closer to the original. And at this point, instead of juggling these values, we'll simply use different references on top of them. So let me walk you through a couple of different images that we got. If you look at them, they immediately provide a lot of conceptual ideas. We can turn those assets into canopies, arrange them in some sort of hanging fabrics. By the way, we don't immediately jump into changing our assets in 3D as we said before. Actually, when we are finished with our image, we will do a style transfer on top of it. When we have rendered out, post-production, all of that, and we have just the colors on top of our renderings, just the colors on top of our weird geometry, we will use the same reference image here with the style transfer, and we will hope those canopies will show up again. If Magnific hallucinated it once, there's a great chance it will hallucinate it the second time. So that's something worth remembering. And if it doesn't succeed, we can always model it, we can always use Firefly. There's many different ways that we can actually make it happen. Another examples, we can see how our assets could function within this Silk Road theme. They are sometimes transformed quite significantly. There's this multi-layered space with the bridge and the paths. It's like a goldmine of inspiration. And another reference, and different colors, a different way of playing with smaller details. And we see it's like more dystopian. There's a lot of potential. So eventually we'll need to decide what we see fit. And we see how this red works nicely in this space. This red is such a powerful move. So just a second ago, you wouldn't even think of it. But right now, it's in your head. So lots to think about, a lot of cool ways. Again, this lesson is super experimental, so I think we could stop here. Okay, that's about it. This is how the final research looks like, and the rest is history, Hope you like those obscure tricks. I think they can actually work in a pipeline if you open your mind to it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.